And I would say you probably work with some of the smallest mindset,
Yeah.
and you have worked with a lot of undergraduate, and you have seen the growth journey and stuff. So what is the signal about, let's say someone around 20-ish, that you would say, oh, he or she has potential, he or she will become something?
Oh, this is my favorite question so far, Tiger. I think that one thing is curiosity,
Curiosity.
right? So if a 20-year something says, I'm very curious how somebody builds that business that way, or why would somebody invest in this particular company or grow in that particular country. I'm very curious to find out why. I think that's what we need, right?
Okay.
Because everything else can be taught, Tiger. I can't teach curiosity to someone, right? So if a 20-year-old someone, a college student at Tetter, lacks basic curiosity to both ask the right question, but also be willing to put in the effort to answer that question.
I see.
Right? If you have that combination, I think that's everything, right? Everything else, I feel, once students like yourselves become consultants, we can teach everything else.
I see.
But that curiosity, I can't teach anybody. You either have it or you don't, right?
Yeah, I see. That is true. And you did mention about asking the right question. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, great that you're asking this, because oftentimes, especially young people, Tiger, they feel the pressure of having all the answers, right? That if someone senior or my professor or my boss at work is asking me something, I should always be ready with answers, right? And you therefore take a lot of pressure in always having the right answer. Actually, in consulting especially, sometimes having or asking the right question is far more important than knowing the right answer. Because, that curious mind that we spoke about, that curious mind will uncover many facets of the problem itself before starting to answer it. So I think I genuinely feel that sometimes to come across as a smart person, you don't need the answer, you just need a smart question.
You just need a small question. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really nice. What does a company, let's say EY, look for from the CV of a student when they step out? Because I would say a lot of the CV is the same. We have the same score, we do the same activity. So how does someone gonna make themselves stand out and
Yeah.
make them interesting enough?
Yeah, sure. And I would answer this question less for EY, more for consulting in general, Tiger. I think consulting looks for what we call, a balanced CV, right?
Balance CV.
Which means that, say, there are 3-4 sections in a resume typically. There is the academic section, there is your work, internships and work experience, there is positions of responsibility. So have you held a leadership position, student council, head of the consulting club in college, etc., etc. And then finally extracurricular activities, or what you are outside of work or outside of college, right?
Okay.
If typically there are these 4 sections, so first thing we look for, Tiger, is definitely balance between the 4.
Okay.
So you can't be an outstanding student but nothing else.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You can't be amazing at extracurriculars. I don't know, basketball. You've played for Vietnam, but then your grades are really, really bad, right? So either way, we can't have a great spike in something, but then nothing else, right? So first and foremost, I would say balance between the 4 sections. Second thing that we look for is definitely variety, right? Like we like, in consulting, it's generally preferred if the candidate has done different things, but sustained through. So by different things, I don't mean you've done 7 different certifications from Coursera and this, that and the other. You've done 5 different internships in something. You have played 13 different sports. You do some performing arts. It can't be, it's not, by variety, I don't mean you put in a lot of stuff. But I do want to see a well-rounded personality, right?
Yeah.
Through the inclusion of different things, but things that you are truly passionate about.
Yeah.
And therefore, I will be able to see that if it's hypothetically basketball, oh, Tiger's played basketball all through school and college and continues to do that, right?
I see, yeah.
The minute I see that, I know, one, it's a great, sport in general is my bias, but sport in general I feel is a great teacher because It teaches you strategy, it teaches you leadership, it teaches you teamwork, it teaches you just so many things. But it tells me that you persist, you sustain. When you like something, you do it over and over again and you become better. So we want to see different things, but not just as tick marks. We want to see you grow and improve in those things as well. So that's what I would broadly say. Nothing should be too bad. If some things are very good for you. But look for balance. Look for variety in the resume.
Yes.
Right? And we like leadership. We like the fact that if you were you had a leadership position either in school or in college, or you've done your own kind of startup, you had your own venture. Some of those things we quite appreciate.
One thing that is really new for me is to put extracurricular activity onto the CV, which I was not taught and don't really do it. So why do company interested in the extracurricular activity?
Okay, I'll tell you a little secret.
Okay.
And I shouldn't tell secrets on a podcast. But I actually start reading a CV from the extracurriculars up.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Wow.
Exactly to the point that you made in your first original question, which was everybody has grades, right? Everybody's gone to the same or similar colleges. So, of course, yes, they've done that. Extracurricular is what, at least for me, and I'm 100% biased, but it gives me a window into the person itself.
I see.
Right?
Oh.
Of course, you've gone to college. Of course, you've got good grades. Of course, you did a few internships. Who doesn't? Right?
Sure, yes.
But not everyone can speak for whether, again, like I said, whether it's books and literary, or it's performing arts, or it's sports, or it's public speaking, or it's, right? Like, who can boast of doing some of these things and doing them really well? That is what, at least again, for me, I feel it really tells me something about a person. If they've persevered through, I don't know, say a dance form, right? And since they were a kid, they've learned a certain dance form. They've really gone ahead and done, lots of stage performances. It tells me something about the person in a way that a grade can't, right?
Definitely.
Or an internship can't, right? It tells me you have a skill, you have talent. It tells me you are not scared to perform on stage, which in consulting is quite important because we have to keep talking to clients. It's always a stage, right? It tells me you have persevered, you have sustainably done a hobby for 5, 6, 7, 10 years and you continue to do it. So it shows your passion. It does so many things. So extracurriculars, please, if you weren't planning to put Tiger on your resume, please put it.
Yes,
please
definitely.
put it. Also because it's a great icebreaker. The first 2, 3, 5 minutes of an interview, you are nervous. I'm trying to get you to calm down in an interview. How do I get someone to be less nervous when they've just walked into an interview room? It's actually through the extracurriculars.
Wow.
I read that section and I'll just go, oh, so you're into debating. Wonderful. In school, I used to be in debating as well. Tell me what you have done, right? And automatically you are at ease, right? Because now we are talking about a topic, a subject that you actually are good at.
Yeah, true.
Right? So you become less nervous.
Yeah. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. Like, at the end of the day, if the CV and stuff, that's like for a more corporate life. But then, when looking at the extracurricular activity, it's really show who is that he or her.
Absolutely.
And then that's really how the HR can really bind with the applicant.
Correct. And it makes for good conversation. It makes for a human connect, right? Ultimately, the more we connect, the better we are as a team.
Definitely.